Hello everyone, Todd Shellnut here with CFI Pro Courses, and I know that a lot of you have messaged me, and I really do appreciate you tracking along with me as I went through this CFI renewal process, but I'm done. And I wish I would have posted something a little bit sooner, but I'll be honest with you, I just didn't have the time to do it due to family obligations and work obligations, but I do want to follow up with you and just let you know I have completed my flight instructor refresher course online with AOPA. And if you're not a member of AOPA and you haven't taken advantages of a lot of the courses that they have on there, they're actually pretty good. And I appreciate if you take a minute. I'll put their link right below here. And I'd like for you to take a minute just to pop over there and to look and see what they have. And maybe if you're not a member there of AOPA, you can see if you'd like to be a member. They'd love to have you. A very strong advocate for the aviation community in the world. So what about my eFIRC? Because that's the proper name for it, eFIRC. How well did it go and what did I do? And was it hard? Was it short? You know, you always know I'm going to tell you the truth, right? Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. And I don't know, sometimes I really don't care when people beat me down about telling the truth, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you what I did and what I thought about it, and we're going to go from there. And you're more than welcome to post comments or whatnot if you want to argue with me or whatever, you want to talk about it. But here's the rub. I think I went into this eFIRC the same way I think a large amount of flight instructors go into these eFIRCs. It's online, it's digital. Man, I'm just going to breeze through this thing. And I'm just going to, it's a bunch of stuff, right? You just click on it. I mean, how hard could it be? It's just e-learning. Boy, was I mistaken. It was very challenging. To be honest with you, it was very challenging. And I was very impressed with the amount of learning that took place. If I may show my transcripts here in a minute, I didn't retake everything to do a 100. And I'll tell you why I didn't redo everything to make a 100. There's two different reasons. I'll just tell you as we go. I didn't retake everything that I didn't make 100 in because after every single module, you have to take a quiz. And the quiz, it's only 8 questions, right? So you figure how hard could 8 questions be? Well, if you're not paying attention and you're just clicking down through the links, and the 8 questions could be rather difficult, all right? And on one of the modules, I even failed the module. I missed 2 questions. I failed the module. It might have been 3 questions. And I had to go back and redo it. So why was I not successful when I first started this? Because like I said, I think I was just like most instructors. They just think that this eFIRC is an easy out. It's an easy way out. It was not an easy way out. And I learned a lot of things. I really did. I was very impressed with the amount of information that was in there and the clarity of the information and the preciseness of the information. I was impressed. But when I went into it, I was simply just I think in my mind, I was simply just trying to check a box. And I'm like, it's just an eFIRC, how hard could it be? And I was very disappointed. It was very challenging. And in the end, it was very rewarding. I took a lot of notes. And in the end, I was happy that I actually did an eFIRC because I think I did come out of there challenged as a professional. And I think that I came out of it with a little bit more respect than what I went in for online flight instructor refresher courses. Went through all of you have 13 main items that you have to do, and then you have a certain number of electives that you have to do, which is 4 electives, and they give you a long list of things that you can choose from. And I just went down and chose things that I thought would be beneficial to me. There was electives on there such as like things dealing with helicopters and things dealing with tail wheels and seaplanes. I didn't find those interesting to me, but I did find some of the other things that were interesting. I'm a big fan. You know me, I'm a big geek, a big dork of the FOIs, of the FOIs, and they did have some other stuff on there, ADM and risk management. I do love those areas. So I started off the course just trying to think that I was just going to go through and just click on a bunch of things and boom, biggity boom, done. eFIRC behind me, done. Woo, done at eFIRC, you know. But again, like I said, I was not prepared for what I had signed myself up to, and I definitely think it was worth the money that I paid for it. It was a good educational training thing. I'm going to show you here in the end result. So here, unfortunately, I'd like to be able to show you. I was planning on like showing you some of the eFIRC material. I'm pretty sure that would not be legal, and probably AOPA would not want that. So, but the bottom line is that on the 31st, which is my end date, the course timed out. So it knew that I was going to lose my CFI after that, and it timed out at midnight. So I really didn't have access to go back and review it. So what did I learn there? Well, I learned that if I do an eFIRC again, I'm going to make sure that I purchase it 4 months before my renewal. So the 30 days, the 3 calendar months to the end of the month. So up to, but not including 4 months. So I'm going to make sure that if I ever do an eFIRC again, that I'm going to purchase it way back. So that way I'll have my time to go through and actually study and read and concentrate. In every single module, they had everything down to the nth degree on what you needed to know. So if there was an advisory circular, they listed it. If there was something to back up what they thought was correct, they listed it, which was great because in the end, I think I end up spending a lot of time clicking on those items and just reviewing them and researching them. And I was like, wow, that's an interesting read. Oh, that's an interesting read. Because I just really geek out on a lot of these data for the advisory circulars and FAA, the SAFOs and infos. I really like to be able to have a lot of that in the backside of my head where I'm like, somebody asks me a question, I'm like, there's a SAFO or there's an info on that, or there's an advisory circular on that, or there's a FAA a letter of interpretation on that. So I like to be able to have that data. And just a really good positive experience that I had. In the end, I ended up having this certificate issued to me. And as you can see here on the certificate, what you actually get is a little quote down at the bottom that states that if you, long as you have this graduation certificate and your unexpired, or your expired CFI certificates, that you still can exercise privileges while you're waiting on your permanent CFI certificate to come in the mail. One of the other things that I was a little bit confused about was I did have some issues with the FAA in regards to my medical. So while the medical people are working everything out and my lawyers are working the things out, I actually had to mail in my medical to the FAA. Due to my surgeries I had and some heart complications that I had. Not really bad heart complications, but I had something referred to as PVCs. So you can just look that up and see what a heart PVC is. Pretty much everybody listening to this broadcast has probably have PVCs going on. In my particular instance, I have more in a particular brief period of time that's allowed by the FAA. So I have to be regulated and I have to have heart monitors hooked up. And then I went on a medication that basically nullified my medical. So the FAA asked me would go ahead and turn it back in while I went ahead and got the rest of my stuff done. And then of course you want to make sure that, well, when you're messing with stuff like this is my livelihood and I don't want to make any mistakes. So I want to make sure that I check the right boxes and do the right things. And so therefore I just asked my aviation lawyer to look over everything and make sure that I'm within the know and that I'm not getting taken advantage of. I know I'm not getting taken advantage of. So I just need to make sure everything's in the right spot. So therefore I do keep a lawyer in my back pocket there just to make sure that everything's going real well. You don't want any type of bad relations with the FAA because they don't want to know you in a bad way. They want to know you in a good way. So you always want to have a good relations with the federal government. And the FAA it's not hard to get on their bad side, and it's not hard to get on their good side either. But anyway, you just don't want your name out there in a bad way. So when I was filling out my IACRA for it, one of the things it said was, have I, or do I hold, or have I ever hold an FAA medical? Well, because I sent my medical back in and I didn't make a picture of it or a copy of it or anything like that, I still had to put, even though I had to mail my medical certificate in, excuse me, I still had to know the date it was issued and the doctor's name. So it's no problem. I went online and looked at my stuff on the Airman's Registry and got all the stuff taken care of and called the doctor and got his information. So that was all good to go. That was the only hiccup I had in the IACRA application. Very incredibly short application because you don't need to submit a lot of data. You simply just go down through the line, you select eFIRC. That's the first time I've ever done that in my life. So my first 8710 that I've ever done with an eFIRC. It was just a real easy application. So the application side of things, incredibly difficult. And again, it's just one of those things that, you don't even need to submit your flight time. There's no flight time requirement to do this, but it's always a good thing to do that because that serves as a backup in case you ever lose your logbook. So if you ever lose your logbook, you can go back to your last 8710, use that as a way to recreate your logbook. So that's always a good thing. In the end, would I do an eFIRC again? Absolutely. I would definitely do an eFIRC again. It really kind of almost makes me want to do the eFIRC and a flight. And I don't know how I want to do that in the future going forward, because I was very disappointed this year that I didn't do the flight portion. And because one of the things, like I said when I first started this, but I like to be able to ask the examiner or let them know, say, look, and if you can't put me underneath the gun, if you can't really hold me to standards, I'm not here as a kind of like a buddy kind of thing. I really want you to examine me and see what I know and what I don't know. And I'd like to be able to have a list of stuff I don't know. I got that in a different way this year, again, by using the eFIRC. So what would I change? I'd like to still be able to do a flight. So I don't know. How am I going to do that next year when I go and do it? Because like I said, I try to renew my CFI every year and not every 2 years. And the reason why do I do that? People ask me all the time, why do you do that, Todd? Why you put yourself under the gun? Well, because this is my trade and I must know it and I must stick to how I'm going to do it. Now, I don't do it like a full blown. So like this year, I'll do like the full blown, and then next year I'll just renew like doing a NAFI master or something like that. So it's not that big of a deal, plus this is what I do for a living. This is my professional type environment. So I have to stay sharp. I don't want people asking me questions when I don't know the answer. Anyway, I know a lot of you have probably switched over the speed now to 1.5. So I'll go ahead and get off of this. And if you have any questions about the FERC, please let me know. I wish I had more pictures and stuff to show to you, but like I said, I started thinking about it and I was like, man, I don't know. Although there doesn't say anything on there on the AOPA's website about showing information, I'm pretty sure it's copyrighted stuff. So I'm not going to do that. And I'll tell you another thing too. Here's the last thing I'm going to say before I get off. I want you to figure out who your CFI hot rod is, your CFI mentor, what famous CFIs do you know? What famous CFIs do you know? I think everybody has like some really cool CFIs, but they don't kind of look at them as a CFI. They kind of look at them as almost like a celebrity, like John and Martha. You look at them, but they're both flight instructors, and I know some of you probably had the opportunity to meet them before. Wonderful, wonderful people. But hey, I have mentors as well, and I look at people in the background, probably like people look at me in the background, and I really appreciate one special flight instructor /DPE /AOPA advocate / everything else reaching out to me on my YouTube channel and just asking me how did I like the overall quality of the AOPA of eFIRC experience. So Mr. Blair, I appreciate you taking the time to kind of reach out there. That's what sets you apart from the others, just having that genuine concern and caring about what others do. Um, it's hard to beat people like Jason Blair and Rod Machado and others who are just backbones of this industry. Hopefully one day I can shine as bright as some of these guys and girls do. I thank you for walking through this process with me, and I really wish, honestly, I had more to share with you, but I don't. I don't just have what I have, and again, the copyright stuff. So you'll see a copy of my certificate rolling down through the credits here. Again, it also counted for my TSA flight school security awareness renewal, so I also got that certificate as well, and I'll roll that during the ending footage as well. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and please keep reaching out to me and asking me questions. I love all the questions. I love all the comments, and I'm going to do a special video with probably pretty soon with a list of everybody that's reached out to me and told me that they are so happy with spending some time with me on here and passing their CFI check ride on the first go. One price, one check ride, right? Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Todd Sheldon with CFI Pro Courses. I look forward to one day seeing you at the airport and maybe one day on a check ride. Take care.